But on to another pressing issue. Gauteng Premier David Makhura says elements of the Gauteng Etolls system must be reviewed. The Gauteng provincial government released the findings of its e-toll review panel. The Premier addressed the media on findings and recommendations following a report by a review panel on the socio-economic impact of e-tolls. Earlier, the opposition to Urban Tolling Alliance Outer said it hopes the fight against e-tolls will finally pay off. It says the system in its current form is being overwhelmingly rejected. But for more on that story, we cross now to our reporter, Nozintombi Mia. She's on the line. She joins me from Johannesburg. Nozintombi, it's clear that the majority of the province is resolute in that e-tolls are unacceptable in their current form. But are they here to stay?
Well, the reason of Natasha at the moment is really does seem as though the idea of the e-tolls is up in the air. What was most critical from what the Premier spoke about around the issue of the findings from the review panel was that they complemented the benefits that had come out of the Gauteng Freeway Improvement Project, the GSIP, ultimately known as the e-tolls. They've benefited the province by having better roads, reduced time on the roads. However, in as much as the GSIP has benefited the province, the user pay principle or the financial way in which it's supposed to be paid is unsustainable and it is unaffordable for most of the middle income homes. So those two findings are absolutely critical. The Premier is not committing himself to saying that the e-tolls will be scrapped, but he is saying that a better funding model needs to be found to make sure that the Gauteng motorists and the middle-income homes are not negatively affected by e-tolls.
All right, so the Premier talking about sustainability and not committing to whether or not they're here to stay. But once the other findings of the panel are released, what can we expect?
What the Premier had said, which really was a critical question, in as much as the panel has given their findings and their recommendations, people want to know, are the e-tolls going to be scrapped or are they not going to be scrapped? And what the Premier has said is that in the meanwhile, while various processes are ongoing, people and motorists should continue paying for their e-tolls. He's spoken about a twofold process. He said that the province is speaking to national government, it's speaking to the three metros in Gauteng, which is the Gauteng, which is Mfuleni and the different Johannesburg provinces. And he said that once that process has been concluded, they will be speaking to Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa on how best to get a hybrid funding model that will be more affordable, equitable, and sustainable in going forward, in how it is that the e-tolls and the GSIP will ultimately be paid in a more sustainable and more equitable way going forward.
And in Tombi, very briefly, Wayne Duvenage tweeted that he'd not been allowed to attend the e-tolls presentation. Do you have anything for us on that?
Yes, I do. Actually, Natasha, I did speak to the Premier's office and I asked them, is this particular press conference open to all the political parties, all the different organizations? And they said it was only open to the media. Only the media was allowed to be in this particular press conference where the Premier would give that feedback. The Premier, in speaking to us in the conference, has said that at a later stage, the recommendations and the findings by the review panel will then be distributed to the different people who presented at the panel. It will also be distributed to the public at large because the public themselves are really their constituents. But this press conference today was limited only to the media.
All right, Ntombi, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Ntombi Mia, live from Johannesburg.